You guys out there teaching that the Syrophoenician woman is another nation, the Most High is not dealing with you on that. You don't have the comforter, because you would know that the Syrophoenician woman, a woman of Canaan, the woman was a Greek. Look up that word Greek in the New Testament. I think it's one time when it says Greek, it says, I believe it says Greek 2 times, but you got to go to the King James, which is John 7:35. Go to the King James and go to the NLT. It says, would he go among the Greeks to teach the Greeks, or something like that. That one time is talking, I believe that one time is talking about the other nations. Any other time you see the word Greek, capital Greek, it's referring to Israelites. So the woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation. I mean, Syrophoenician is the land of Canaan. She lived in Canaan because she was an Israelite, but didn't so much know that she could have been like Cornelius, because a lot of them were waking up to the fact that this is the Messiah, and they were starting to believe that, wait a minute, we got to be descendants, because they had a feast in St. John, I believe it's St. John 12:19. I got to go to that. Let me go to that. St. John, John 12. This is why it's a complete and utter waste of time dealing with these Christians, because they don't understand words. Even the ones that go to the Greek, they still don't understand them words, man. Complete waste of time dealing with them. Okay, so right here is the word Greek. Greek seek Jesus. What does that mean? Other nations? No. Israelites, to best give you, Timothy's father was a Greek. That means Timothy was an Edomite. So the Apostle Paul let an Edomite come up under his wing? Timothy's father, a Greek, was an Israelite that didn't accept being an Israelite, but he fell in love with him and Timothy's mother fell in love with each other. But she wasn't really breaking the law, because she wasn't with a Greek, she wasn't with an Edomite. It says, and there were certain Greeks, these are Israelites, that were not, in other words, they didn't have fringes on, they probably had tattoos, they were raised up in a household that didn't teach them that they were Israelites, so they were definitely not circumcised. And that goes back to what? That's why it's important. When a Christian say, well, we don't deal with the Apocrypha, it's not accepted. I say, okay, then arguments, I'm walking. Bye. Goodbye. Complete waste of time, man. It says, in there were certain Greeks, which were Israelites, but somehow the Syrophoenician woman, she was of another nation. Among them that came up to worship at the feast. So this was a feast. I may even go into the, let's see. I'm sorry, let me do this. I got to come up a little bit further. Right, the people, therefore, that was with him when he called Lazarus out of the grave and raised him from the dead, bear record. So the people saw, there was witnesses there, right? So even Herod got the witness. This guy even raises the dead. I got to meet this dude. And then when Yahushua, our Lord, ignored him, like, man, who the hell, the F your problem? He said, man, beat this guy down. And said, man, fuck this nigga, you know? And they were called niggas too in Antioch, Christians and niggas. For this cause, the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. Now, you raise somebody from the dead, you're going to be famous overnight. Hey, if Bishop Nate raised the dead, the first thing I'm going to say is that shit is a hoax. Brothers from GMS, no, we're going to Bishop Nate. It says the Pharisees therefore said him, and if we perform miracles and raise the dead, guess what? Everybody gonna come to us. All right. Perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the Pharisees, right? Behold, the world is going after them. When you look up that word world, the word there is not oikomeni, it's not eon. The word there is cosmos. Same word world in John 3:16. So when you come across John 3:16, you don't have to go to 5 different scriptures to prove that that's talking about Israel. All you got to do is say the word is cosmos. Cosmos means a certain segment of something. And they don't understand that. Christians don't understand. They don't understand. Ask them, look, the word world, when you come across the word world in the we're dealing with the New Testament, we can deal with the Old Testament too. What did it mean? Well, it means everybody. Nope. That's why when you buy books from that Christian scholars put together, they always make reference to the Greek or the Hebrew. That's why you guys buy the book. So what are some of the terms when you come across the word world, especially in the New Testament? Cosmos, which is Greek. Oikomeni, which is Greek, which is talking about the whole world. And eon, right? Those 3 just come to mind. So the Pharisees said, look, the whole world is following. The cosmos is following these Israelites. Even the one, because the Pharisees knew that these were Israelites, but didn't want to acknowledge that they were Israelites. Well, you ain't Israelites because you ain't circumcised. You can't speak Hebrew. I saw you eating pork. You got tattoos on you. You ain't got no beard on your face. You got tribal mark, all kind of. You don't dress like an Israelite. So they say you ain't an Israelite. Scripture said, cast him off as a heathen man, right? If he fails to listen to the church. So it says, Greeks seek Yahushai. When it said Greeks, it's talking about Israelites, like Cornelius, perfect example. And there were certain Greeks, Israelites, among them. And by the way, I believe Apostle Ramab said this. He said, when before, all of us were Gentiles. In this time, we slumbered and slept, Matthew 25. Among them that came up to worship at the feast. So this feast was a feast. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Okay, let me see. Commentary. Bible Hub. I always go to Bible Hub because I'm familiar with it. Let's see what they say. Okay. The desire of the Gentiles and the voice from heaven. I just went to 20th verse. Greeks. The same word is translated Gentiles. John 7:35. I mentioned that, right? It says, then said the Jews among themselves, where will he go that we shall not find him? Will he go to the dispersed, which are Israelites, among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So Gentile, the first time you see Gentiles is talking about the other nations. The second time, the last word before the question mark is Israelites. So the scribes and the Pharisees knew that there were Israelites out there, and they knew the history about the Maccabean history. They knew how Israelites were forced to become Greeks. So you got the word Gentile in here 2 times, but it's 2 separate meanings. Now, if you click on the word, it should give you the same root word, the same Greek word. So a lot of times, when it says Gentiles, it's an Israelite based upon the context, right? It said Greeks, the same word is translated Gentiles, the dispersed among the Gentiles. So these Greeks that came to the feast, they were Israelite in the Gentile state of mind. Coming out of that, they were coming back to Israel. Where see note, care must be taken to distinguish in the New Testament between Hellenists or Hellene or Greeks, i.e., born Gentiles, who may or may not have become either Jewish proselytes, meaning they were Jews that came back into the faith, or Christian converts. Well, there was no Christians back there. The word Christian came about in the book of Acts, 11th chapter. And Helleniste or Grecians. Now, what's the difference between a Greek and a Grecian? I went through this before. If you go to Acts chapter 6, it tells you about the widows, the Grecians. Those were Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, were circumcised on the 8th day, but that were born outside of the land. So the people that followed them to go to the feast were Hellenes. So I don't got to read no more. It says, as our Bible renders the word, i.e., Jews who spoke Greek and not Aramaic or Hebrew. Aramaic, you listen to somebody say something in Aramaic, it's another form. Arabic is another form of Hebrew. Different dialect of Hebrew, you can say. We say Abba, they say Abu. We say Bun, they say Ibn. We say Shalom, they say Salam. Neither word occurs in the synopsis. Hellenes or Hellenes, are mentioned here, John 7:35, and frequently in the Act and in St. Paul's epistles. Helleniste are mentioned only in Acts 6. Hellenistes were Israelites that were labeled Hellenistes, but they knew they were Israelites born outside the land. Helen or Hellenes is talking about like Cornelius. Acts 6:1, Acts 9:29, and Acts 11:20. The right reading is probably Hellenes, which are like Cornelius. It came up to worship, or better that were wont to go up to worship. This shows that they were proselytes. When I came in as a I didn't know I was an Israelite until somebody told me, "Oh, you an Israelite. Here's the scriptures, John, Deuteronomy 28:68, and this. That's what gets you, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. That's why the Christians attack Deuteronomy chapter 28. Because when you read Deuteronomy 28, apply it to the small hats. Don't fit them. Oh, they're talking. That's why you don't deal with these clown ass Christians, man. Proselytes of the gate, like the Ethiopian eunuch, which, by the way, he was an Israelite. I'm not going to go into details. And on Matthew 23, verse 15, in this incident, we have an indication of the salvation rejected by the Jews passing to the Gentiles. Right? Let's look at that. Matthew 23 and 15. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make a proselyte. What is a proselyte? Somebody new coming into the faith. And when he is made, you make him twofold a child of hell than yourselves. You bring them into, come, you're an Israelite, come in. Then you put hell on them, you know? Passing through the Gentiles, which are Israelites, the scene of it was probably the court of the Gentiles. It is now these Gentiles could come inside the court, because that's in Acts 21 where Jake tried to kill Paul. So what you letting these heathens up in here? They were not heathens, they were Israelites, but they wasn't raised up as Israelites. It is like Cornelius. It is peculiar to St. John. So it doesn't go into detail as to what the particular feast was. You know, Jake likes to have, you know, parties. They like to party. So let me come back over here. So anybody that's teaching that the woman was a Canaanite, a Syrophoenician by nation, the woman was a Greek, she was an Israelite. She was an Israelite. That's why Yahushua healed her daughter, because the mother was an Israelite and the daughter was an Israelite. But wait a minute. If the Lord healed heathens, why didn't he give the power to Herod? He ignored Herod. He didn't. At first he ignored that woman. Then she said, "Oh Lord, son of David." You know? The dogs, because we are considered like dogs. Dogs apply to Israelites too. That ain't in their right mind. That's not Israel. Cast not thy pearls before swine, neither give that which is holy unto dogs. It ain't talking about don't give it to the Edomites. It's talking about don't give it to any old Jake.